Hey guys, I have a very exciting video for you today. This was super highly requested. I'm gonna be testing out a new to me brand. Definitely not a new brand. They've been around a very long time, but I have never tried it before. This is a drugstore brand that is completely blowing my mind. Everything that I got is under $10 and the products are insanely good. I actually showed them in a YouTube short and I got tons of requests. Please review this brand. So the one downside is that this brand is only available in the UK. So those of us in the US, you have to order it internationally, which I know a lot of you guys don't necessarily want to do. I personally don't like ordering internationally if I don't have to, but let me just tell you, the process was so seamless. I ordered these on a Tuesday. I got them on Friday afternoon at my house. I couldn't believe it. When I first placed the order, they told me it could take 3 to 17 days and it took 3. So I was not expecting that. I figured, okay, I'll probably see these products like in 2 weeks. And it was so much faster than that. I was very impressed. As far as US shipping goes, it's $10 if you spend 35 or more. So the shipping fees aren't too bad, especially since it came so quickly. I think it was definitely worth the $10 for me. I also want to note that everything came packaged so well. Every single palette that I ordered was wrapped in this type of wrap individually, and I ordered so many palettes and these are very soft. Nothing broke. Everything was very secure, so you don't have to worry. I think they do a great job at packing. And to be honest with you, the entire experience of ordering from them was easier than ordering from Ulta because they have lost my packages before. Sometimes stuff takes more than a week to get to me and they just throw stuff in without bubble wrap and stuff comes broken. So even though it can be a pain ordering stuff internationally, this was a really, really good experience for me. So I don't see any issues whatsoever. Another thing that I got questions on, when some of you went to the website, you noticed that the prices of the product are not converted to US dollars. So the only thing I can say there is just go onto Google and convert from the British sterling pounds to dollars, just so you can see how much you're spending. But when you go to actually submit your order, it's gonna go on your credit card in US dollars. They will do the conversion for you. So it's not really a big deal. I would just do the conversions yourself if you wanna know exactly how much you're spending. But like I said, everything that I bought was under 10 US dollars. Also, just a couple of quick things to mention. This is a cruelty-free brand. Everything that I have here is made in China, which again, I know is gonna turn some people off. I personally do trust the quality of this brand just because they've been around for such a long time, kind of like e.l.f. Most of their products are made in China too, but they're a big established brand, so I trust their quality. And MUA actually used to be sold here in the US at CVS. I think they came back around 2014, 2015, and they were here for several years, but I think back then the quality of the products wasn't what it is now. And I also just want to take a minute to shout out my friend Sue over on Instagram. She has a page, Sue Loves Makeup, and I follow her. We're friends over there. We chat all the time, and she's the one that told me about this initially. She was like, do you want to hear about some things that we have over here that I'm really loving? And I was like, sure, let me know. I'm always into checking out new makeup, and she told me about these palettes especially. And when I saw how incredible they looked, I was like, all right, I went and like placed an order almost immediately. So I just want to thank Sue for recommending this brand to me. So anyway, long intro over. Let's go ahead and do a full face. I'm wearing the products right now, so you're getting a little preview. I will also be doing a wear test to see how they hold up throughout the day. So let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start with eyeshadow because I don't know if there's going to be any fallout with these palettes. So I want to do my eyes before the rest of my face. And I'll quickly show you swatches of everything. So I ended up getting 2 of their larger palettes and then 4 of the little quads, not quads, 5-pan palettes. And my friend Sue specifically said to get the eyeshadow palettes that are in the plastic packaging. They do have some that are in cardboard packaging. She said that formula is not as good as these. So I just stuck to this type. I haven't tried the other ones yet, so I can't speak for how they are. But let's take a look at the larger palettes first. I believe these converted to around $7 US, which is incredible. So the first one I got is the Illusionist palette, and this one, I just loved all the cool tones. It is a little bit on the smokier side, but there are some lighter shade options as well. I think I would have traded maybe one more of the shimmer shades and just made it a little bit lighter because I do like to use a lighter shimmer shade on my lid usually, and most of the shimmers in this palette are on the deeper side. So really most looks that you do with this one are gonna come out a little bit smokier, but I was just completely blown away by the formula of these. They are unbelievable. The matte shades feel really nice. They feel really silky and smooth, but I think the shimmers are just out of this world. They're more incredible than some higher end brands in my opinion. They just are so creamy and pigmented in one swipe. They almost look like liquid metal as you're applying them. They just stood out to me as being superior to pretty much any other drugstore brand I've tried. So it was just very, very impressive for a $7 palette. And then I also got this one called Soft Nudes. And this is just like your basic everyday nudes palette, neutrals. I really love this one too. And I can definitely see myself using this one a lot. It is a little bit more on the warm tone side, but I don't feel like it's overly warm. It's not one of those orangey, reddish, yellowish type of palettes. You mostly have warm browns and some rosy tones thrown in too, which I really love. So I could probably see myself using this one the most, even though I do really love cool tones. This one is just a little bit deeper and smokier, which I don't wear all that often. Then when it comes to the little 5-pan palettes, these are so awesome. I want to say they were around $4 and change US. And I love how each one has 2 shimmer shades and 3 mattes. I think you can just really create looks very easily with them. So the first one I have is Desert Bloom, and I love the rosy tones in this one. I think it's gorgeous. The rosy shimmers specifically are right up my alley. I definitely think this is going to be one of my favorites that I use all the time. Another one that I'm kind of considering using today is Enchantment. This one is definitely more on the cool tone side. I love the mix of like the gray with the deep blue. Then you have that dusty mauvey pink in the middle. And you have that almost charcoal gray color to deepen up a look, yet it's very soft. It doesn't look like it's going to be harsh. So I think this one is super beautiful as well. Next, we have the Wilderness palette, and this one has more earthy tones. You have that beautiful green matte in the middle that is really kind of more of a unique color. You have that dark teal shimmer. They also give you a warm brown for your crease. There's a light pink to kind of add a little bit of pop of color, and then an ivory shade. So I can definitely see myself using this one quite a bit as well. And then the last one is Andromeda Skies, and this one is kind of like a smaller version of their Illusionist palette that I just showed you before, the bigger one. It's a little bit deeper, smokier, definitely more on the cool tone side. And I think the shimmers in this one are just out of this world beautiful, so stunning. So I don't know which one I'm gonna go with. I'm wearing pink, so I kind of want to keep it more on the cool tone side. This one is a rosy toned option, but I feel like it's a little bit warm. This one is a little bit more cool, but it is gonna require me going a little bit deeper and smokier. Maybe I'll try Enchantment just because I feel like these are really good everyday shades, but it's a little bit more ordinary. So maybe I'll just try the fun one and see what happens. I'm just going to prep my eyes first with my MAC Paint Pot in Painterly. It just kind of creates an even canvas. It has a little bit of coverage, so any discoloration that's on my eyelids, it's just gonna get rid of that. All right, so I'm gonna start out with this shade right here in the middle, this dusty pink, which is so beautiful. I love this color. I know that the shimmers are gonna apply well. I just don't know how the mattes are gonna be just yet. This one, not showing up a lot just yet. Let's see. I definitely wouldn't say that this is a pigmented shadow. It's definitely showing up. It's just very, very sheer. Also, when I tap off my brush, there's quite a bit of fallout, so I would definitely recommend doing that first before you go and apply it to your eyes, because otherwise it's gonna be down on your cheeks. Yeah, so I did have to kind of layer this one up a few times, but it's also a little bit of a lighter color. I actually do like a very buildable shadow because I think ones that are too pigmented sometimes get a little bit intimidating for me. If I add too much, then it's hard to blend them out and make them look good still. So I think it's easier to just kind of build them up slowly to what you want. But this shade is definitely looking very pretty, so I'm happy with it so far. All right, next I'm gonna pick up this deeper kind of charcoaly gray, and I'm gonna apply this one to the outer corner of my eye. And I'm just using a small little brush. This is from BK Beauty. It's the 209. I'm just concentrating it kind of down near my lower lash line. And this one also shows up, but it's not a super, super pigmented shadow. Again, I think I'm just gonna build it up a little tiny bit. And then I'm gonna take my blending brush and I'm just gonna start blending that in sort of a C shape near the outer corner. These matte shades blend beautifully, but they do fade quite a bit as you're blending them. So that's just something to keep in mind. You do have to kind of keep building them up a little bit in layers to get them to really pop. But these shadows just kind of blend out like butter, which is really, really nice. So I kind of want to use both shimmer shades today, even though this one is really dark and then we have the silver here. I think I'm going to put this deeper blue in like the outer corner area a little bit more, and then the silver more toward the inner corner. But first I'm going to use my NYX glitter primer. I use this no matter what eyeshadow palette I'm using, whether it's drugstore or high-end. This just helps shadows to last longer. It helps them not to crease, and it just prevents fallout underneath your eyes. It's so sticky that everything just really grips nicely to it, and also it helps the shadows to pop a little bit better as well. So I'm going to start out with the deep blue shade. I'm just going to pick it up with my finger and try applying it that way first. And I'm going to put this one more toward the outer corner, but wow, these shimmers just are so, so impressive. This is just adding a little bit more depth and dimension to that outer corner. And then I'm going to pick up the silvery gray shade, and I'm going to put this one on the inner corner, and I'm going to blend it right into that blue. I also love that these shadows are like true metallics. They don't have a ton of glitter. They just have that gorgeous metallic sheen to them. Next, I'm just going to take that crease color again and just run it underneath my lower lash line here. I don't expect that it's going to show up that much, but it might just add a little something. Next up for mascara, I'm going to use the Tower 28 mascara. I got it in this Sephora kit. It's called Clean Me Up. And you get a full size of this and also a full size rose ink blush in this kit for $35. And all the rest of the sizes are pretty good sized as well. I did show the entire kit in one of my YouTube shorts from last week, so definitely check that out if you want to see the kit. But I really want to try out this mascara. I feel like it has so much hype. I really like the small wand. I feel like you can get right up to the roots of your lashes. All right, so eyes are done. I think this mascara gives a really combed out, kind of fluffy lash look, so I love that. It really helps to separate the lashes. It gives a lot of length and a little bit of volume, but I feel like it's mostly a lengthening formula, and it also gives your lashes a little bit of curl too, which is really nice. So I'm liking this so far. As far as the eyeshadows go, I think they performed well. As I mentioned, the matte shades are definitely more on the sheer and buildable side, so if you're okay with kind of spending a little bit more time to build the shadows up to get the look that you want, I think you can still definitely achieve it. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. Maybe not the best shadows to use when you're in a hurry in the morning, but if you have a little bit more time to spend on your eyes, I mean, it worked out perfectly for me. So I would say this was definitely $4 very well spent. Next, I'm just going to apply foundation. I don't have any foundations from Makeup Academy, unfortunately. As I was looking through, they had like one or two, but they were more on the matte side. And I usually like my foundations to be a little bit more dewy or more hydrating. This is the new Cali Ray skin tint. It's called the Free Dreaming Skin Wellness Diffusing Tint. I got it in shade number 2. I'm just going to put a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm probably just going to apply this right with my fingers. It says that it has sheer blurring coverage, and it's supposed to be a more buildable formula that lets your natural skin shine through. This color's a little bit light for me. I probably should have gone up to 3, but they were actually out of stock. It does have a very featherweight feel. I love that. It has a very serum-like texture, and the product just immediately sinks into your skin and gives like a very velvety finish. It doesn't remain sticky at all. Like the skin on my cheeks is already completely dry. I wouldn't even have to powder this or set it at all. And I really wasn't expecting that from a skin tint. Usually skin tints are kind of more on the dewy side. This one is definitely not. But it also doesn't feel drying either, which is good. This also has more coverage than I was expecting. I was thinking it was going to be like a sheer to light coverage. It's more on the medium side, maybe not a solid medium, but I would say just under that. It's definitely a lot more than I thought. So I'll quickly show you close up what this looks like on my skin. I think it looks extremely natural. The biggest trouble spot for me is my nose, and it is grabbing to the flaky skin on my nose just a little bit. But on the rest of my face, it definitely has that blurred appearance, and I think it's due to just the fact that this has a very powdery dry down. My face feels like I already put powder on, even though I didn't. And right now, other than my nose, I don't think it looks super dry, but we'll see kind of how this wears throughout the day and whether my skin ends up looking a bit drier later. All right, so back to MUA. I have one of their new new products. It's called Bronzed, and it's their cream bronzer. I got it in the shade Butterscotch. It does come in various shades, which I really like. And this claims to be a buildable, blendable, lightweight, creamy bronzer to effortlessly add warmth and definition. And I actually really like this color. It's still warm like a bronzer should be, but it has a little bit of a cooler undertone to it. It's not a super warm, like orangey or yellow tone bronzer. And I want to compare it quickly to the Chanel bronzer because I kind of feel like that's what they were going for. That one is incredibly popular, and there are a lot of cream bronzers that have come out since then. And I think the Chanel one, while it is much, much bigger, it's also like 50 bucks, so it's very expensive. I don't think I will ever finish that one, so I like a smaller product that I could actually like finish and go all the way to the bottom. And I think I definitely prefer the MUA color to the Chanel. I think the Chanel one is a little bit more yellowy based. It's a lot warmer. And I think when you see these two side by side, the MUA one definitely looks a lot cooler, but it's not so cool toned that it looks like a contour. It still has that little bit of warmth that a bronzer should have. I'm actually very, very excited to try this. It felt very silky going on when I did the swatch, and I'm gonna apply it with my Profusion Buffing Foundation brush. I love this brush. It's so soft, but it's very dense, so it's amazing for cream products. And I don't really use it for foundation as much because it's small and I feel like it takes forever to cover my face with this one, but I like it for things like cream bronzer and cream blush because it's so small. It just gets right into those areas that you want. So I'm just gonna put it right into the jar, and I'm gonna start, I guess, on my cheeks and then go from there. Wow, this is such a pretty color, and you know what? This is so sheer. Like, even though I swirled my brush into the compact, I feel like I didn't pick up too much. I think while I love the Makeup Revolution cream bronzer, and I've talked about that one many times on my channel, that one is so pigmented. Just like the tiniest little bit goes such a long way, and I always have to worry about overdoing it with that one. But this is just so soft and pretty, and it just gives a barely there look, and oh my gosh, it blends out seamlessly. It dries right down to a powder finish. There's no stickiness. How beautiful is that? I'm impressed with this. I'm just gonna put a little bit up on my forehead. I just can't get over the softness of this. This is just the most beautiful blendable texture for a cream product. Creams can sometimes be a little bit tricky. They can be a little bit intimidating. I feel like this one would be totally goof proof. I'm gonna put a little bit under my chin. Okay, next up for blush, I got a couple different blush options. The first one is these liquid cream blushes. So right away when I saw these, they kind of reminded me of the Glossier Cloud Paints a little bit. They come in these cute little tubes, and I got two shades, Dusky Rose and Misty Rose. So Dusty Rose is definitely more on the cool tone side. It's a beautiful pink. I love this color. And then Misty Rose is a brighter coral shade, and I think this one is gonna look so pretty for summertime, especially with more of a bronzy glow. These feel really silky, like they're gonna blend out really nicely on the cheeks, so I'm excited to try them. And just quickly, next to the Glossier Cloud Paint, I'll just put that one next to Misty Rose. I have the shade Beam in the Glossier. I did have their pink shade, but I decluttered it because it got really old. This one is a little bit more new, so I think the color is actually pretty close. It could even be a dupe once it's blended out on the cheeks. I think they feel really similar as far as the texture goes, so if you're a fan of the Glossier Cloud Paint, I think this would be a really great affordable alternative. For today, because I have the cool tones going on, I'm gonna use the shade Dusty Rose or Dusky Rose. Which one is it? Dusky. So I'm gonna put a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm just gonna pick it up with a brush, or I don't know, maybe I would even use my fingers with these. Maybe I'll try one side with the brush and I'll do the other side with my fingers. So again, I'm just gonna use this brush that I used for the bronzer. Just pick up a little bit, and I'm just gonna kind of stamp this onto my cheek. This color is gorgeous. It's also a little bit on the sheer side, but I like that. I feel like some people might be disappointed that all these products are going on kind of sheer, but I think sheer products are actually more trendy these days. So that's one layer. I could just build it up a little and see what happens. Yeah, it definitely builds upon itself. I don't see it lifting up my foundation at all, especially just applying it in this type of a stippling motion. With cream blushes, I never swipe because then I feel like it might take off a layer. So it does feel a little tiny bit dewy. It hasn't completely dried down, but I'm gonna do the other cheek and then we'll go back and see. So I wanna just apply this side with my fingers and see if that changes anything. I mean, it's probably going to be a very similar effect, but I just do the same thing with my fingers. I just kind of tap them on my cheeks like this rather than making a swiping motion. I'm just going to add a second layer since I did that to the other side. All right, I have to say this is really pretty. It's very sheer. It adds a tiny little bit of glow, but I don't see any glitter or sparkle in the formula. I think it's just because my cheeks are a little bit more moisturized. It does not feel sticky anymore. It dried down pretty much all the way. I do have dry skin, just keep that in mind. If you're more oily, I don't know if they're gonna dry down quite as fast, but I feel like my dry skin just kind of like sucks everything right in. I did get one more blush. It's a powder blush, and I just wanna show that to you guys really quick. It's called Blushed, and this is in the shade Rouge Punch, which is another really beautiful bright pink shade. And the description says, add a pop of color to your cheeks with this gorgeous blush. The soft powder blush applies smoothly on top of base makeup in a perfectly matte finish. And this feels incredibly silky and smooth, and when I was swatching it, it actually feels like the kind of blush that like melts into your skin, almost like a cream, but it's a powder. It just seemed like it applies very seamlessly, which I'm excited about. I don't know if I should apply this on top of the blush that I already have on because I think it might get to be just a little bit too much. Maybe I'll try it on at the very end of the video when I don't care what my makeup looks like at that point, but I just wanted to show this to you. And then I also got some lip products. These are the Satin Sheen Lip Stylo, and these are supposed to be a lipstick that kind of feels and looks like a tinted lip balm. I love the packaging that these come in. They come in the like sleek tubes. They remind me a lot of like the Hourglass ones. I think there are a few high-end brands that use this style of slim lipstick packaging, and I really like it. I think it's very elegant, and also I like a slimmer bullet because it helps you to get a little bit more precise when you're applying lipstick. These also feel like they're going to be very hydrating on the lips. They have a little bit of a vanilla scent to them, which I forgot to mention the bronzer did as well. It's almost like a little hint of coconut or like a coconut vanilla. It smells really good. It's not that noticeable. I smelled it a little when I was applying the bronzer, but after that it went away. But yeah, the lipsticks just have a tiny hint of a fragrance as well. So I'm gonna use the shade Heroic. I think this one is like the perfect pink, like a Your Lips But Better. This feels so smooth, and it gives your lips not like a shine or a gloss, but it just leaves them a little bit dewy, like a satin finish, like they say. And it feels so moisturizing. I think it makes my lips look a little bit smoother. This is really nice. It definitely feels a little bit more high-end. To be honest, I'm impressed with everything that I tried from MUA today. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a wear test. As always, I really wanna know how these hold up. I did see a comment in the YouTube short that I posted about these products saying that the eyeshadows creased on them. So I wanna definitely test that out and make sure that they hold up well before I can definitely recommend them to you guys. So sit tight. I will be back in about 8 or 9 hours or so, and we'll finish up. What's up, guys? I'm here for my final check-in. It's been about 8 hours or so. I couldn't make it to the 9-hour mark because we have stuff going on later this evening, so I just wanted to quickly film this, but I think we gave it a pretty good wear test. I specifically wanted to know if the eyeshadows were gonna crease, and they don't really look like they've creased on me. They actually held up really well. I don't know if that's because I put primer down first, and then I also used the NYX Glitter Primer for the shimmer shade, but I have to say I've used that before, and shadows have still creased on me, so it's not a guarantee that this is going to prevent creasing. But yet, these still did really well. Also, though, I want to mention I don't have oily eyelids, so eyeshadows typically don't crease on me unless they're really, really greasy type of formula. I also do see the blush and bronzer still, but they definitely have also faded throughout the day. Both products were pretty subtle to begin with, but I do still see them. They haven't completely gone away, so I do think they held up pretty well. The lip product did fade after I ate lunch, but I felt like it lasted a little bit longer than your typical tinted lip balm would. I think because it has a little bit more pigmentation to it, I just felt like it left a little bit of color behind even when the shine wore away, but it's not going to be something that will last you all day. You do still have to reapply it, but I was still pretty impressed with everything, especially for the prices, for everything being under $10. I feel like they are a very solid drugstore brand. I did want to quickly try this blush on and just see how it applies. I'm not going to do a wear test, obviously, but I just want to see what the color looks like on my cheeks and just how it blends and all of that. So let's see. This is such a pretty color. It's perfect for summer. It's one of those shades that just kind of wakes your face up. And I did feel like I needed a little bit of blush because the other one was kind of fading out. But this is super blendable. I hardly had to mess with it and it just blended out effortlessly. So I think this is really nice for a $3 blush. It's very similar to like the Essence ones at $3 that I really enjoy. So these are great. I also want to show you the other color in the lip stylo. This is the shade Mystic. It's a little bit on the deeper side. It's like a rosy red. I don't know if it clashes a little bit with what I'm wearing, but I just wanted to show you the color. I think if I'm disappointed in anything today, it's the new Cali Ray foundation. I was really expecting to love this because it's supposed to be a blurring skin tint, but I just feel like it's not sitting nicely on my nose, and now my chin also looks kind of dry and cakey. It still looks okay on my cheeks and forehead, but I think it doesn't have enough moisture for my really dry skin. That may change in the summertime, in the really humid weather. My skin goes more from like dry to normal, but right now I'm kind of sort of still in that dry phase. It's definitely warmer here in Connecticut, but it's not like that humid weather yet. So at the moment, not super impressed with this one, but I would love to hear what you guys think down in the comments below. Are you planning on trying MUA? Or if you live in the UK, have you tried it already? And what are your favorite products? What should I check out next? I'd love to hear your thoughts as always. And I want to thank you guys so much for clicking on this video, for spending time here with me. I really truly appreciate it so much. If you enjoyed this video, I also hope you'll consider hitting the subscribe button before you go. And if you have some extra time and you'd like to check out another video of mine, I'll put a playlist right up here and you can check those out next. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you all in my next one. Take care, guys. Bye.